Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? And welcome back to another video here on the Water Juice channel, and welcome back to another episode of the Tennessee Titans 10-year rebuild. It is episode number 3, year number 3, and I'm excited to get going with this Titans team because I feel like I just have a sneaky suspicion that this team is becoming the dynasty that we are looking to build. I mean, we've got year number 2 of Will Levis. Even last year in his second season in the league, he performed very, very well. I was very happy with how he performed. Derrick Henry, we're still riding with him for a couple more seasons. We re-signed him in the last episode, gave him a contract extension, so we're still riding with him. We had a massive, massive offseason where we signed Tyron Smith. We signed Michael Pittman Jr., which is something I never do in any of these videos, whether it's the 10-year rebuilds or the Barron series or anything that I had done on Madden 23. I never signed Michael Pittman Jr. I don't know why, I just never do. He's usually never interested in the team that I am. But I decided, you know what? This is the final series going on the channel for Madden 23, so we might as well give it a shot and sign Michael Pittman Jr. We got the boy on the roster. He's a superstar. He's a 26-year-old player. He's big-bodied at 6'4", and he's a good receiver that can hopefully teach Treylon Burks the ins and outs of playing receiver in the NFL. We've also got Laviska Shenault, who's no slouch. And then we've got Kyle Phillips, who led the team last year. So, I mean, we've got a good receiving core. Offensive line, I mentioned Tyron Smith. We moved Peter Skoronski over to right tackle. So now the tackle spot is solidified as long as Tyron Smith doesn't retire anytime soon. We have our rookie Grove at right guard, and we also have Bass playing left guard. He'll probably take over for Raduns, however you want to say his name. He'll probably take over for him in a couple of seasons, maybe even next year, depending on his progression. Kyle Pitts, obviously, at the tight end spot. He's a stud. And then on the defense, might be my favorite part of the team, which is the defensive line. We've got Jeffrey Simmons. We've got Jalen Carter and Hadley. I think it's Mac Hadley, right? Yeah, I think he was our first-round pick. I'm pretty sure. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he was our first-round pick. And then we've got Dallas Turner, who we move from the linebacker spot, where he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm pretty sure, at that linebacker spot. We move him to defensive line because we actually signed Rashawn Gary, which is another thing that I was never able to do in any of these series because he always signed somewhere else. But we finally paid him enough money. We finally gave him a fat enough bag to make him sign with us. He's here. We brought in Jeremy Chin, I think, in a trade, or was it a free agent sign? I can't remember, honestly. But he's here. Kevin Byard is here. And what I'm going to do is we're probably going to ride out Kevin Byard's contract plus his age until he starts to regress. And then we can just move Amani Hooker or Jeremy Chin or have Tyrell Burgess, somebody. We have a couple backup plans for free safety once Kevin Byard either gets traded because he's not any good anymore or he just retires or whatever happens. He just regresses. I don't know. So we have a couple backup plans. The cornerback spot I like, but it's not anywhere near finished. We have some young pieces like Christian Gonzalez, Caleb Farley, Christian Fulton, Murphy Bunting, but it's not where I want it to be fully. We still have a little bit of work to do there, and we still have a little bit of work to do in this entire team. This team is not perfect by any means. The linebacking core I like on the edges with Tyree Wilson and Rashawn Gary, obviously, but Al-Shahir is a good player. We've had 2 seasons with him, and he's been playing very well each year, but he has not gone up to a star development. He's had really, really good seasons that you would think would go up to star development, but he has not done it yet, so I'm a little bit concerned that he's just not going to ever. So we might have to think of a replacement there at the middle linebacker spot at both spots, even though we could switch the scheme to make it a 4-3, so we don't have to worry about the middle linebacker too. But hey, we're working with 2 middle linebackers right now, so we might as well do that. But we do want to set the season goal, and we're probably going to make 7 wins the commitment. I don't want to say make the playoffs just yet, because I think that we are still a year or 2 away, although I thought that we were probably a year or 2 away with the Texans, and we ended up winning a Super Bowl in year number 3 of that series. So anything can happen at this point. We're 87 offense, 85 defense, 86 overall, so we are very good, very competitive. It's just a matter of, can we actually put it together on the field? And I'm pretty sure our playbooks are changed. Yeah, we're rocking Cincinnati's offensive playbook because Joe Burrow usually puts up impressive numbers, and it also gets the running back involved because of Joe Mixon, and it gets the receivers involved because of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. So it's a very well-balanced offensive scheme. We're rocking with the spread and the base 3-4, and then we've obviously got Mike Vrabel's defensive playbooks because it's his team. We might as well rock his playbooks, and he's defensive coach. So that is everything we need to do for the beginning of the episode, and let's simulate to the halfway point of the season, see how this team is doing. Maybe we need to talk about possible futures of some players. I don't know. Let's simulate to the midway point and find out where this team is halfway through year number 3. We've made it to the midway point of the season, and we sit at 5-2. Unfortunately, the Jaguars are having an even better season. They sit at 6-1, but I like this beginning. I like the way the team is constructed so far. I like the way the team has been playing, and plus we're winning games. So that means plus morale. That means Will Levis is going to be going up, and his stats are hopefully going to be looking good. I'm excited to hopefully get him to star development. That's a big, crucial piece to deciding whether or not he is going to be our franchise guy or not. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. And I was right. Bass is probably going to take over for Radunz next season. We'll either trade him or just release him. I don't know what his contract is looking like, but he's probably going to be gone, and we'll have our second-year man take over. Negotiations. Who's ready for a new contract? Kevin Byard, just like we were talking about. Tyre Tart, Al Shire needs a new contract. There's Rodon, so we can just let him walk, or maybe trade him for some draft picks or something. Caleb Farley is in need of a contract. He's not super expensive, but we will have to slightly overpay for him, unless we can adjust his interest. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But we are losing some interesting backups. Nobody that's like groundbreaking. I guess the only guy that would be groundbreaking is Kevin Byard, and he is going to be probably 32 at the start of next season. That's a hefty contract, and it's going to be most of our cap room for next season. So what we probably will do is trade Byard in the offseason, see what we can get for him, capitalize on his value, and maybe use some of that money to sign some other players, or even go in the offseason, or go in the free agency. I don't know, but we'll figure that out when it comes in the offseason. Let's simulate to the end of the season, finish the season out, go to the playoffs, hopefully, make our first playoff appearance of the series. That'd be awesome. And I guess see how Will Levis does. That's the main key. See if he can have a good third season, or I guess third season because he was a rookie when we started this, and then maybe win Offensive Player of the Year, Best Quarterback, something like that, get a development trade upgrade. Who knows? Let's find out. We made it to the end of the season, and it looks like we just missed out on the playoffs, finishing 10-7. The Jaguars finished 11-6, and the Colts actually had a resurgence in the second half of the year and finished 12-5. So we finished third in the division, not good enough to make the playoffs, but that's okay. We're still building for the future. And take a look, peek at the passing leaders. You see Dudley Benson, you see Joe Shiesty, but Will Levis finished the year third in the entire NFL in passing yards. That's why I wanted to use the Bengals playbook, because it's very well balanced. It's very heavily for the quarterback, obviously, because he's Joe Burrow, but it's very well balanced for the running back and receivers, and Will Levis has shined with 5,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 16 picks. I'd like to see those pick numbers go down a little bit, obviously, to maybe low double digits, maybe like 11, 12, something like that. But this is fantastic numbers, 65% completion percentage. Even Malik Willis got in a little bit. But 5,200 yards is crazy. And Derrick Henry, just like what I was expecting, 1,000 yards and 19 touchdowns for him. So he had another really, really good year. Receiving-wise, obviously Will Levis, when he's throwing for 5,000 yards, he's spreading the wealth pretty heavily. 1,500 yards for Treylon Burks and 18 touchdowns. I'm glad that he didn't take a back seat to Michael Pittman, and he was actually able to shine, and he certainly did that. 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns for Pittman, 1,005 for Kyle Pitts, 774 and 7 touchdowns for Chenault Jr. And Blake Corum even got in a little bit with 297. Derrick Henry 260. So 3 1,000-yard receivers, very impressive. Lots of touchdowns thrown. Exactly the kind of progression year to year that you want to see from your young players. Now, Al-Shahir is in a contract season, and he has just been consistently putting up 100-plus tackle seasons. I really wish he would go up to star development, because then he could really be an asset for us. I guess he still could be as our middle linebacker too, if we're able to kind of find a number one, a Mike linebacker. I don't know, but as long as he's going to be normal development, I don't see any way he can become our number one linebacker for the future, for the long haul. I don't see him being the leader of a championship team at normal development. I just don't. He also had 6 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a pick. Christian Gonzalez actually had 94 tackles and 3 picks. Kevin Byard, 86 tackles. We'll probably be moving on from him, mainly because I don't think we can pay him. Actually, we probably could, but then we'd be really hamstrung on who we couldn't or who we could pay later on, and I don't think he's worth it at almost 32 years old. He might even be 32 years old at this point. I have no idea. 14 tackles for loss for Jalen Carter, 12 for Jeffrey Simmons, 11 for a couple guys, 10 for a couple guys. Sack leader was Jeffrey Simmons with 10. That's not even that crazy, but good for him. I'm happy for him. Rashawn Gary, 6. Dallas Turner, 4.5. Jalen Carter, 4. I don't think we're going to be winning any awards this year. The only one that we could possibly win is best quarterback with Will Levis. That's a slight possibility, although I think that we're going to lose it to Joe Burrow because he had like 10 more touchdowns than we did. Christian Gonzalez, Jeremy Chin led the team with 3 interceptions, 2 for Murphy Bunting, and then 1 for a couple guys there. And that is your stats for the 3rd season. No playoffs. Very upsetting, but then again, we're still a year or 2 away. That's what I said at the beginning of the episode, and I do believe that. I do believe that we are still a year or 2 away. I'm hoping that we can have another solid offseason, another solid draft, and then in episode number 4, we can really take that next step, but we need Will Levis. We need to find out, truly, before it gets too late, because that's what I think we kind of waited on too long for Kyler Murray in the Cardinals series. We need to find out if Will Levis is our franchise quarterback or not. Is he the guy to take us to the promised land? And speaking of Kyler Murray, of course, Kyler Murray leads the Cardinals to the Super Bowl, something that he never could do when we were using him. Let me just take a quick look. Is he still the quarterback for the Cardinals? Did he get him there? Yeah, he is still the quarterback. 27 years old, playing up to an 86 overall, and he got the Cardinals. He led the Cardinals to a Super Bowl. I didn't think he could do it. I didn't think he had it in him. We obviously got ours with Desmond Ridder in year number 10, but we could add a lot more. Those teams are really, really good. I still think we could have got it, and Kyler didn't get it. He lost to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, which is an honorable defeat because it's Patrick freaking Mahomes. 45-21, Cardinals go down. Let's see if we won an award, maybe? Joe Burrow wins MVP, no surprise there. Mahomes gets Super Bowl MVP. Marvin Harrison Jr. wins Offensive Player of the Year, so maybe we should have tried to get him, just like we had him in the Texans series. Felix Enudike Uzama, I think is how you pronounce that. I apologize if that's not. He wins Defensive Player of the Year. Then we got Dudley Benson, the quarterback for the Buccaneers, who did lead the league in passing yards because he's in Tampa Bay playbook. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to John Cantrell. All right, that is your award list for year number 3. I do want to not go back to the season recap. I do want to see if Will Levis is playing up to star development. I really, really hope that he is. He needs to. We need to find out if he is our guy or if we just need to move on, maybe trade him for another quarterback, something like that, draft another quarterback. I don't know. But we need to find out now before it gets too late. So let's go to the lineup, see if he's star development. He's only normal, but he is playing up to a 78, so I guess that's good. Bass, you will be starting at left guard. We have Van Pran playing center. We've got Grove. I like the offensive line. Traylon Burks, I just noticed. How did I not even notice that? Traylon Burks is now a superstar development player. I am in love with Traylon Burks right now, what he's been doing. He's had 2 back-to-back really, really good years. Al-Shahir still not anything, which is just frustrating. Hadley actually went down to normal, but he didn't really play at all, so I'm going to move him back up to star. He obviously was star when he had his development traits, so let's move him back up to star. and get him back into playtime. We're going to probably lose Tar. Actually, we are going to lose Tar. It's just a matter of are we going to trade him or not. Jeffrey Simmons actually dropped to Superstar, but I just noticed that too. Jeremy Chin is an X Factor, so we are getting some crazy things. And Christian Gonzalez is a superstar. We are getting some good development trade upgrades. Kevin Byard, was he always a super? I think he was. We got some decisions to make, though. What do we do with Al-Shaair? I think we keep him. I think we renegotiate with him, and we give him an extension. Oh, Kevin Byard's so cheap now, though. At 32 years old, Kevin Byard is cheaper. Shair's even more expensive. Caleb Farley's not that expensive. I think I want to keep Caleb Farley around. So let's figure out what we're going to do first. Let's keep Caleb Farley around because I do like Caleb Farley. I think he's a very solid young player. We'll have to pay him a good amount of money. That should get him back for 3 more years, and it does. So Caleb Farley is back. Let's see. We have $25 million. Should we spend it on Al-Shaair? I think we do. I don't want to overpay for him because he's at best going to be a linebacker 2, but he's going to stay for 3 more seasons, so perfect. And I think we can, that would leave us with $7 million in cap space. Is it worth it to bring Kevin Byard back, or would it be smarter to capitalize on his value because he's still a highly rated player? Do they factor in the age of a player? That is the experiment we're going to be taking on today. His cap hit is massive. Get offers. Okay. We got some finessing to do. We can still make some crazy things happen. We can improve this team. It probably needs to be on the defensive side of things. Although we're getting some interesting offers. Calvin Ridley, if we could pair Pittman, Treylon Burks, and Calvin Ridley, and we get Kool-Aid McKinstry back as well, that's a very enticing offer from the Jaguars. I might do that. I was thinking maybe we go for a draft pick like this one from the Panthers. We get Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who's a good outside linebacker, and we get a first-round pick. Yeah, it's pick 31, but still, we get a first-round pick. Some very enticing offers. We could get Marvin Harrison Jr., who just won Offensive Player of the Year. Oh, the Seahawks must be desperate for safeties. Why would they give Marvin Harrison Jr. up? Oh, man. So here's the thing. Do we take the absolute tank that is Marvin Harrison Jr., the GOAT? Or do we prioritize quantity over quality? And not to be rude, Calvin Ridley and Kool-Aid McKinstry are still very good players, but we get an extra receiver who would fill the role of Marvin Harrison. And we get Kool-Aid McKinstry, who adds to our already pretty stacked cornerback room. That could be good. Or do we just go and grab the guy? This could be one of our only chances to get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. I can't pass it up. I know we just had him in the Texans series, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't draft him this year, or this series, But I mean, when they're just offering me when they're just offering me Marvin Harrison Jr., and he just had the season that he had, we now have 3 unbelievable receivers, and he's actually got upgrade points as well. Treylon Burks is coming off of 2 fantastic seasons. We also have Michael Pittman Jr., who had a 1,000-yard season, and now we have the guy who just won the freaking Offensive Player of the Year. So, and then we have Laviska Shenault as a number 4. So, I mean, wide receivers might be done unless we can upgrade even further. We have pick 18 in the draft this year. We are going to trade Tyler Tart to see what kind of value we can get. Taylor Britt is interesting. Jahmyr Gibbs. Ooh, we can get some interesting players. I didn't realize Tyler Tart's value was this spicy, this interesting. We can get Will McDonald, Quavion White, Luke Musgrave. We could get a backup tight end, but I don't think that'd be the smartest thing to do. We can get Jackson Smith and Jigba. We could just take the entire Seahawks receiving core besides DK. I'm leaning either Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe Javon Bullard. That could be a nice free safety option, and then we can move one of our other free safeties because we have Tyson Phillips. Is that who we have there? We have somebody there. So if we could snag a young free safety in Javon Bullard, added him to the team, he could replace. Oh, it's Terrell Burgess. That's who it is. And he is a normal development player, but he's young and he's cheap. Terrell Burgess, not so much. But maybe we hold on to him. I think we might hold on to Terrell Burgess. I was going to flip for somebody else, but I think we could hold on to him. We have a lot of corners. We probably don't need this many corners, especially because we just paid, what's his face? I think we move on from Murphy Bunting, because he's probably going to have an okay amount of value. Emeka Ibuka? Oh, they spelled his name wrong. Must have been inappropriate for some reason. Emeka Ibuka. Travion Henderson. Am I just going to build the Buckeyes? Am I just going to build the Buckeyes? What's going on here? Let's see. Who can we add to the team? Akeem Davis-Gaither is an interesting one. I'm still looking for linebackers. There's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. We were talking about him with the, what was it? It was with the Kevin Byard trade. That's right. Ja'Kalen Johnson, Alontae Taylor, Daniel Kidd, Quentin Winfield, Jovan Williams, Dante Henley. Let me quickly take a look at Dante Henley. I want to see what does he have a good trait? Do you have a good development trait, or is it just normal? Dante Henley is only normal, but he is a pretty good player, and he's young. He must have just got drafted, so he has a possibility of going up if he has a good season. Dante Jeffries, because we are still looking for a middle linebacker. Don't forget, we are still looking for a middle linebacker to take over. And Dante Jeffries could be the guy. You know what? Instead of getting whoever else they were going to throw at me, what about if I just ask for that and a second round pick? What about if you just do that for me? Trade declined. But what about if I do a third round pick? Trade accepted. So we get another middle linebacker at star development. I like the situation the team has been in now. It's really looking good. So we're still on Will Levis. The receiving core is amazing. We have to trade Radins. That's right. So before we take a look at the official roster, before the free agent period, we have to take a minute and trade Dylan Radins, however you want to say Radins. No, not Bass. Oh, can we not sign? Oh, he's a guard. He's a right guard. That's right. There he is. All right, what's his value? He's got not amazing value, but it's still okay. There's Grant Delpit. Devin Bush. I think Devin Bush has star development. And Devin Bush might be the move. There's Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't want to do it because we have a lot of receivers. But Jackson Smith and Jigba with Marvin Harris, I gotta do it. I can't pass up on a Buckeye that many times. If they're just gonna keep throwing him in my face, I can't pass up on an Ohio State Buckeye. Go Bucks, baby. I can't pass up. So now we have a surplus at receiver. We don't need Laviska Shenault anymore. Chase Brown. Quentin Johnston. Are they just gonna give me great young receivers? Because I'll take them. Don't tempt me. Ooh, Jack Campbell. That could be our middle linebacker replacement. Let's go get Jack Campbell from the Lions. Good Iowa linebacker. Saw him in the Big Ten when the Buckeyes played him. I think we flipped a lot of our guys. And made this team probably better for the future than I actually was intending. Because now we add Jackson to the Jigba to the team. We've got 4 amazing receivers plus a 5th in Kyle Phillips. Our offensive line is good and young, except for Tyron Smith. We've got, on the defensive side of things, we've got Jack Campbell now, with who's actually playing down to a 74 because he's unhappy, I guess. But I guess we could start him. I don't know. We'll figure that out. The corners are amazing. Well, not amazing, but they're good. The safeties are okay. This team I'm liking. We need to focus probably on the defense more than the offense in the free agency period and in the draft. So we can do that. But let's make sure that everybody in the negotiations are somebody that we don't want. We are going to pay Jack Campbell next season. But everybody else we don't need or want. So we can move to free agency period number 2, or number 1, I should say. We have about $5 million. We can pay one guy. We can probably pay one guy in free agency on the defense. Lamar Jackson is the top player. That is insane that Lamar Jackson is here and available. But let's take a look at linebackers, because linebacker is a big position of need, and there's not a good one that we need. Okay. Right outside linebackers, oh, we know how good Jalen Phillips has been for us over these series, but he doesn't want anything to do with us, and he's got 3 offers. We're not going to be able to pay him. We don't have the cap space. So even if he did want to be here, we couldn't outbid those other teams. So we'll just have to move on. That's unfortunate. Draymond Jones, I like. This free agency class isn't amazing for the needs that we are looking for. J.C. Horn, but he's got 10 offers. Yeah, I think we just keep our money. This free agency period's good, but it's not good in the positions that we need. So we're just gonna move on to the draft, which I don't even know who's in this draft, but we are just gonna move on, save our $5 million that can go towards the cap for next season to re-sign everybody that's gonna need a contract then. So we will save that money, bank it for next episode. And we can take a look at, I want to take a look at the final mock draft just so we know for a fact where everybody's going, even though I have no idea who's even in this class. So let's do 5th-year options. Who's in a 5th-year option? Traylon Burks. I'm going to pick up his 5th-year option just so I don't have to pay him until the next season. So let's just push that back another year. Procrastination for the win. And that is the only one that we have in 5th-year options. And we move to the final mock draft number 5. I'm curious to see what's at the top of the board. Is it a quarterback heavy class? Is it a receiver class? We have enough receivers. What do we got? A quarterback, Gavin Taylor from the Ohio State University. And Gavin Taylor doesn't have the speed, so he's probably not generational, but he's got a cannon of an arm. And his acceleration's great. His accuracies are all really, really good. Gavin Taylor looks amazing, but I don't think it's worth trading up. Who do they have us taking? They have us all the way down here at number 18, taking Frederick Harrison. First off, I would never take anybody named Frederick. He doesn't even look that good. He's trash. He's garbage. Get him off of my screen. I don't even know what this class is great at. It looks like there's a couple solid corners, some good outside linebackers at the top, a good left tackle. There's always a left tackle, or at least a tackle at the top of every board. So private workouts. Who's gonna be available? Who should we scout? Who should we scout? We're definitely not scouting Frederick Harrison. Let's throw some private workouts on maybe Brian Driver. Certainly Brian Driver. Hardly know her. I love that name, and you got the eliteness that I'm looking for. So Brian Driver, welcome to private workouts. Let's also throw some private workouts on, who else should we look at? Maybe Micah Howard. Definitely Micah Howard because he's got A zone coverage. So definitely Micah Howard. What about Virgil McClendon? Love the name. Decent athlete. He doesn't look horrible. We could go with, maybe Cortland Carrington. 6'4" run stopper. Pretty good physically. His block shed isn't where it needs to be for a first-round pick. There's some good tackles, good guards, as there usually is in these classes, but I'm getting a little bit into the weeds here. Let's just go for Micah Howard. We'll go with, who else? Who did I say at the top here? Oh, Brian Driver. I said Donald Driver. And then we'll go with, I don't know, freaking Josh Cooper. Let's go with him. I hardly know her. So those will be our 3 guys that we private workout. That Brian Driver guy, I got to see where he's projected to go in the mock. Oh, he's a top 5 projection. That sucks. That really, really sucks because I think Brian Driver is going to be a good player. That elite speed at outside linebacker, I think he's going to be a good player. So we got to talk to the Minnesota Vikings to try to trade up to get number 5. I hate that he's valued that highly, but he's good. He's a good player. Let's go talk to Minnesota. Minnesota, what do they want for number 5? Let's throw it in there. Call them up. They want our 2026 5th-round pick. It's valued at number 5 overall. Very interesting that it's valued that highly. They want a second, so they want to take our 1st and 2nd next year and then a 4 this year. I feel like we could get away with not doing that. What I might do is I'll give them pick 5 next year because it is valued so highly. Oh God, they were trying to fleece me? You were trying to fleece me? Unbelievable, Minnesota. I thought you were all friendly up there. Absolutely insane asking for a 2nd-round pick alongside it. Unbelievable. The audacity. I'll give you, no, not the 3rd even. I'll give you a 5th. And you say thank you very much. Oh my God. I can't believe the audacity. They wanted a 1st, a 2nd, and a 4th. Unbelievable. Absolutely insane. So that gets it done. And you know what I'll probably do is I'm going to use that 5th pick to draft Brian Driver. And then we're going to trade down with pick 18 and hopefully get lucky, cross your fingers, and get a 1st-round pick offered for next year. So we basically just replace our 5th that we traded away to get back a 1st-round pick for next year. That's basically what I'm going to do is. But let's see if that quarterback goes number 1. He certainly does. Gavin Taylor, Ohio State quarterback, warms my heart to see him go number 1. Good for him. Number 2 is Grant Purcell. Chris Callaway goes to the Cowboys. The Commanders take Daniel Soriano. And I've got my pick of the litter. Let's get Brian Driver. I hope he's good. He's 6'2", 258 from Clemson. You know he's going to be at least solid if he's from Clemson. 4'6", not even the fastest outside linebacker or right outside linebacker in the class, but he's got great physicals. He's got A finesse moves, B block shed. He's a freaking stud. Hidden development, 86 speed, 90 acceleration. My boy is a dog. 54, number 54. We might have just solved our linebacker problem. So now we got to move on a little bit further. Brendan Proctor, hardly know her. Earl Falk, Nick Sheffield, Darren Simmons, Matt Mitchell, Virgil McClendon, Rick Albee, Richard Howard, Dick Howard from Meat Chicken? That's crazy. Nick Newman, Josh Cooper, Terrence Allen. A lot of Buckeyes going in this draft. And then here we are again. So I could take a little peek skis and see if there's anybody. There's that Frederick Harrison guy, but he was pretty slow that we looked at. Marcus Camp has D block shed, which already says no to me. Did the guys that we already used our private workouts, right? Those guys got drafted. I'm pretty sure that Cooper was the last one and he got drafted. So I think what we're just gonna basically do, unless Theo McCain is great physically, which he's a pretty good quarterback. He's got good accuracies. He's a little bit worse than the number 1 pick, but he's still a solid player. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the classic juice tactic and trade down for 1st-round picks. Hopefully people are offering me 2 1st-round picks. I'll take 1, though, I guess, as long as it's good. What are the offers? Ooh, here we go. Miami's giving me a 1st-round pick next year, which is what we're looking for, plus a 2nd this year and a 6th next year. That's so far the best offer. Buffalo's given me a pretty decent offer, but I'm intrigued by the 2nd this year. The 1st next year, 2nd this year is very, very enticing to me, so I think I'm going to do that. Let's do that. We get our pick back, so I know it's a little bit less valued, but our pick was never going to be pick number 5 anyway, so I like what we did there. Skip to next user pick. We're into the 2nd round now. We basically just got back our 1st-round pick, plus we drafted a stud anyway. So I'm liking what we got. Steve McCauley is a strong arm guy, but he is a statue in the pocket. So we're not even going to look at him a second time. Brandon Leonard is an average athlete, but he's really good technically. He's got beef, block, shed, A play rec, A tackling. We should have used a scouting thing on him. He looks okay. And he might be our pick because I don't really see anybody else that we need to like absolutely go after. Ramondre Ellington. Elite speed 4.3? Ramondre, you can't be doing this to me. You're an absolute just burner. Oh, Ramondre. Would he be here at our next pick? I don't even know what our next pick is. What is it? It's round 2, pick 16, so he certainly would be there. So what we could do is we could snag a couple really good players here. So if we take Brandon Leonard with this pick, I think he's going to be a good enough player for us. Only normal development. That kind of sucks. I thought he'd be at least star. 86 strength, 81 acceleration. He's pretty good technically. I like what he's got. But then we just have to hope that that receiver, Ellington, is still on the board. There goes Bullocks. Oh, the Seattle Seahawks. They came back to bite me. How dare they? I swindled them by taking Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they come right back and take the guy that I was going to. It's not the biggest thing in the world because obviously we are really solid at receiver. We have 4 unbelievable receivers. But it would have been nice to add another speed threat. 8 power moves, but he can't do anything else. Antoine Rush. Yeah, he can rush the quarterback. That's about it. What do we do here? We just took a defensive lineman. Is there any good, like, centers on the board? Because Van Prawn's good, but he doesn't have a development trait, which is concerning for offensive line development. I like this guy, Dexter Jackson. Welcome to the team. He does have a development trait. He could right away be better than Van Prawn, although Van Prawn's, I think, is 79 or an 80 or something like that. I'm going to use this final third-round pick, and then we are going to simulate the rest, let the CPU handle it, take positions of need for us. Adonis Westerman? What a name. Luke Abbott. He looks pretty good, except for his physicals. He doesn't look that great. Jamal Middlebrooks. Matthew Polk. Is there a quarterback that could be sneaky good? Maybe not Matthew Polk. Is there a quarterback that's still super fast? Chris Royal. Is he fast? He didn't go to the combine. He's not good. It'd be a waste of a third-round pick. Waste of a third-round pick. What about Josh Parrish? Poor speed. Does have B hit power, though. Maybe his counterpart, Antonio Martin. Better speed, but we don't know much about him. It's too risky. Too risky to take him. You know what? I'm just going to let the CPU handle. I can't decide who I want. I don't want to waste a pick just guessing on a player when the CPU can handle it. And maybe they miss. They probably will. They'll probably just draft normal development players, but that's okay. I'd rather let them make the mistake than me. So you guys can't blame me. But I like the draft that we had. We got a stud in Brian Driver. Plus, we got our draft pick back. And maybe the Dolphins have a bad year and that draft pick ends up being pretty good. Who knows? That's the risky take. But we did get a first-round pick back. Brian Driver's at 76 overall. I love it already. Brandon Leonard is a 72, so we kind of missed on him a little bit, but he still looks pretty good. Dexter Jackson's a 73. They ended up taking Matthew Polk in the third round with that pick, so he's a 65 overall. We didn't miss much. He's probably got normal development, and he does. And he's from Harvard. Then they took Luke Abbott, who we also took a look at, Christian Barrett, Trayvon McLean, and Orleans Reynolds. So those guys aren't that great. Who was the best player in this draft? Did we miss out on anybody? It is Chris Callaway. Cowboys got the best player in the draft, corner, went third overall. Good for him. We had an okay draft. I like it. I like the draft that we had. I like the free agency that we had too, because we didn't have any. But mainly our free agency was our trades that we made. Those are really what I liked. And we had a good, solid offseason. We got better in a lot of different positions. And let's take a final look at the team before year number 4 starts. So Dexter Jackson in a couple seasons could just take over for Van Pran. Maybe we move on from him, get somebody else. We're still riding the Will Levis train. I really hope it goes well. He did just have 5,000 yards, so I hope that we don't make a mistake there. And I don't want to waste the good years that we have left with Derrick Henry on a quarterback that's never going to turn into anything. The defense is looking very good, except for that cornerback spot. Could use a little bit of work. I know that we traded away Sean Murphy-Bunting, but we were able to get somebody back. I forget who we got back for him, but we were able to get somebody back for him. And we have Jeffries now. We have Al-Shahir again. We have Campbell. We have Brian Driver, our rookie. I mean, this team looks really, really good. It looks really good. And at any point, we could move Tyree Wilson down to the defensive line and have Brian Driver start at outside linebacker. Like, we've got so much versatility and depth on this team. I like it, headed into year number 4. And I think year number 4 could be our first playoff season as long as Will Levis delivers the goods. But that is going to do it for the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.